Hello friends, today Johnson & Johnson's Baby Care, Benadryl, Listerine, Clean and Clear, Stay Free and Bandit are some well-known products. But how company became so big, so famous and a household name? In this video, we'll look back at the history of Johnson & Johnson and discuss 10 key management lessons for startups and budding entrepreneurs from a 135-year-old startup, Johnson & Johnson. The history of Johnson & Johnson dates back to 1861 when Johnson & Johnson's founder Robert Wood Johnson started his professional apprenticeship in pharmaceutical industry. There he learned the business of mixing medicated plasters. At the same time, civil war was going on in America, which took almost 7.2 lakh American lives. The vast majority of them was due to spread of infections. For this, doctors had to perform surgery, that is limb amputation, and surgeons did not wash their hands and clean their tools. So infections were common and fatal at that time. On the other side, Robert completed his apprenticeship and moved to New York as a salesperson of a pharma company. There he learned the business of pharmaceuticals. Armed with his professional learning and experience as a salesperson, Robert launched his own company of selling medicated plasters with George Severy in 1873. The company was doing well. In 1876, there was a World Fair on Pharma. Robert represented his company there. There he listened to Dr. Joseph Lister's speech, who was trying to convince the audience about his newly invented antiseptic surgical methods. While doctors were skeptical about the Lister's newly invented methods, but Robert was determined that it is going to be the future of the pharma industry. Convinced with Lister's explanation, Robert parted his ways with George Severy and launched his own company, Johnson & Johnson, with his two younger brothers, James Wood Johnson and Edward Mead Johnson. The three brothers formed a formidable team, as Robert was a business acumen person and has product design expertise, whereas Edward's expertise was in advertising and James was an talented engineer who can design innovative machines. With company formed and right people with them, they started manufacturing world's first sterile surgical products such as sutures, absorbent cottons and gauges. These innovative products decreased infection and saved lives. But soon, Johnson Brothers discovered that manufacturing sterile products was not enough. They had to teach doctors how to use them. So in 1888, they published Modern Methods of Antiseptic Wound Treatment, a how-to guide on antiseptic surgery. Soon, company salesmen traveled far and wide across America and distributed almost 85,000 handbooks within a matter of few months. The guide had been spreading germ theory and antiseptic surgical methods. In 1901, company did a remarkable thing. Company educated people against diseases, how to prevent themselves from diseases, and start vaccinating its employees. In 1918, when the World War ended and global flu pandemic broke out, the company invented a new product, the epidemic mask. The mask that we are still using today in the time of coronavirus was invented back then in 1918. In 1929-30, when world was in the grip of Great Depression, Johnson & Johnson was determined to keep its employees at work. While many companies folded or laying off their employees, Johnson & Johnson, with their prudent financial planning, not only keep their employees at work but paid them well. In 1943, when the company was about to go public, company's co-founders were skeptical that with the arrival of new peoples, company might lose its values. Then Robert Wood Johnson crafted company's credo, the values that guide companies, and published them for the world to read. Those values are still guiding company today. By the mid-20th century, to keep pace with advancing healthcare, companies' top management started looking for some good companies that have same values as Johnson & Johnson. Then they zeroed in on Szilard Chemie of Switzerland, McNeil Laboratories of USA, and in 1961 they acquired Janssen Pharmaceutical of Belgium. These three acquisitions were very strategic in nature, as Szilard was the leader in producing high quality pharma substances and products McNeil was important for development of medical, surgical and diagnostic equipments, and Janssen can work as R&D center for developing new medicines. Janssen Pharma is the same company which developed COVID vaccine and got US FDA emergency approval for it. Janssen's vaccine is a one-shot vaccine and has a very good efficiency. With these three acquisitions, company became modern Johnson & Johnson and a leader in pharma industry. But company's values were tested in 1982 when someone contaminated Tylenol capsules with cyanide, causing 7 deaths in Chicago. Company issued mass warnings to people through media, recalled 31 million bottles of Tylenol, and offered replacement product free of cost. The response, which cost over $100 million to the company, showed company's commitment to consumer safety and helped in re-establishing consumer trust. It was that kind of company's commitment that we today still use Johnson & Johnson's product. Okay, let us summarize the key learnings. First, Robert acted on an idea. Second, he chose his people carefully. Third, they invented new products. Fourth, they solved the problem of acceptance. Fifth, they took care of they acted according to the market demand. 7, they showed prudent financial planning. 8, the company's missions, the company's values. 9th, exponential growth through strategic acquisitions. 10th, taking care of its products and acting responsibly. Johnson & Johnson's small startup of just 14 employees has now grown to include more than 135,000 employees worldwide and has a valuation of more than $400 billion. Hope guys you like the story of Johnson & Johnson with its key learning. You can like the video and subscribe to my channel. I would love to hear from you in the comment box which of the 10 key learnings inspired you the most. Thanks for watching and we'll meet in the next video.